Yeah.
I just want to ask one question. Your analysis is very correct, it's even worse. But what I ask to you and all the nationalist persons who are in that parliament, what the fuck are you doing there?
Well, that's a very interesting comment. Actually, history is full of this. History is full of this. Am I a nationalist? Not sure. I'm a nationalist. I believe in nations.
So what you're doing in the Soviet Union, that's the Soviet Union we're speaking of. The European Union is the Soviet Union and the big chief is Germany. A central committee.
Before I went to the European Parliament, which is way back in 1999, goodness me, I'm a veteran now. Before I went to the European Parliament, we had been sending people by direct election from Britain for 20 years. For 20 years, we'd sent MEPs to the European Parliament. All of them had about the same profile in Britain as Herman Van Rompuy has got across Europe. No one knew what their names were. No one knew what the European Parliament did. No one knew what the European Parliament cost. And I went in there in 1999 with a very simple agenda. That was to discover the truth about what was going on in the European Parliament and the European institutions, and to report that back to the British people as accurately and as fairly as I could. And do you know something? Since 1999, the percentage of Britons that now want us to have a political divorce from this union and its replacement with a proper trade agreement and friendship agreement with our European neighbours has soared. I think that the UKIP policy of taking those seats and reporting back has helped British public opinion enormously. And I'm also proud to say that I have been able to link arms with people fighting in the referendums in Ireland and France and elsewhere. So I think it's been a constructive and a correct thing to do. But don't worry, I'm not going to go native. I'm not going to get bought for the system. And given the opportunity, I promise you, sir, that I would be the only turkey that would vote for Christmas. All right? Absolutely promise you that. It's funny because I often get that question in the UK media. They say, well, how can you go to a parliament that you don't think we should be a part of? And I point out that Alex Salmond, the leader of the Scottish Nationalist Party, was a member of the Westminster Parliament for over 20 years. Alex Salmond quite happily went to Westminster as someone that didn't want to be there. There are in fact, through history, quite a lot of precedents for it.
Yes, but through history of persons in Ireland, they didn't go to the Parliament in Westminster.
Well, Sinn Féin, you're right, Sinn Féin did adopt the not take the seats policy. However, before that, there was a man in the 19th century called Charles Parnell who did go to the Westminster Parliament, and he decided to use the rules of procedure in the Parliament in such a way to try and make Gladstone's life completely miserable and totally hell. And in fact, poor old Gladstone, I mean, he tore what was left of his hair out. And in fact, they nearly got the Irish Home Rule Bill as early as 1885. Parnell's tactics very nearly worked. What in the end got Ireland its independence? Yes, it was partly the big Sinn Féin vote of 1918, but actually it was the after effects of a massive world war. So attending parliaments and causing trouble can do a lot of good. And when they changed the rules, and when they changed the constitution of the Lisbon Treaty, I got a meeting together of like-minded MEPs. And I said, look, as far as I'm concerned, it's no more Mr. Nice Guy. We have played with the rules in all the years that I've been here. They've now broken the rules. We're now going to give them hell. And that was when we started with, we had our big demonstrations and our referendum posters, and they started fining us all and the usual sort of thing. Unlike the Westminster Parliament, when we really frustrated their procedures and put in speaking requests to keep the Parliament open all night, all they did, of course, was just change the rules. Because there are no rules in this European construct. This is, what we're up against here. We are not the nationalists. Those of us that want our nation states are not the nationalists. What we are up against is a new phenomenon. It is called Euro-nationalism. When they play that wretched anthem in the Parliament with the great big flag, they stand ramrod straight to attention. They were busy. Believe this or not, the Liberals and the Greens last week in that debate about Gaddafi, want the EU to go to war. Anything to give the EU legitimacy, anything to give the EU power. They are the nationalists. And they're not small n nationalists, they're big N nationalists. They are damned dangerous people, and we've got to stop them.